All right, yeah. So down here, looking to the left, this area has been rejected multiple times on the overall on the dollar index. So last week we came down and we tested this level, and the price spiked that level and failed to close below, and we rejected out of that level. So right now, price is pushing down. So we want to go down to the daily time frame to see if this is just going to be the correction to go higher, or if the market is going to potentially come back come back down and revisit these levels at 96 support. So you can draw a potential trend line here. I wouldn't. This wouldn't be the best trend line because it's not. It's too steep for me. But you could potentially draw this right here. And right now you can see that we had a bearish candle for the last day. So coming down to the 4-hour time frame, let's see, horizontal array. So we have this support level around 96.80 support. And right now it's looking like the market is starting to find support around 97. So this level right here is going to be a key break or bounce if we get a pullback. So what I'm going to be watching for overall, even if the market shoots back down, I need the market to push back into this level. And from here, I'm either going to wait to see if we could get a rejection back down or if we could get that continuation back up to the upside. So looking at the dollar pairs, most of them, the dollar came out weak for the morning and for last night and early morning. So looking at that, it makes sense of why the dollar index got weak. But overall, that was just for early week. So the market could be setting up for the midweek reversals heading into Tuesday, Wednesday. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on the dollar index. That's going to correlate more than likely with most of the dollar pairs. So staying with the dollar, let's go look at New Zealand dollar versus US dollar. All right, yeah, so this morning price pushed up to the trend line and it was looking like it was trying to reject at first, but it eventually ended up continuing up to the upside because of the momentum. And if you just look at this action right here, honestly, the market wasn't really moving up or down. It was really just making small consolidation candles, moving within that range. So seeing this breakout or seeing this move to the upside isn't surprising because of this low liquidity level right here. So now what I'm going to be looking for is, right now the market is looking like it's finding resistance just shy of 0.65. So from here, I'm going to be looking for the market is going to hold. If we get a push down, I'm looking for the market. It needs to eventually break back below this trend line in order for the sales to gain, for the bears to gain real bearish momentum. If we push down and hold, it could eventually just push back up to the upside. That's why we need that confirmation of the break back below the trend line. And also there's New Zealand dollar news coming out tomorrow evening. So that could also play with the New Zealand dollar. So, you don't really want to just sell it just now because that news could push the market up to the 61.8 possibly or even higher. So that's kind of why you want to wait for more confirmation within this level. So now if a candle closed in like a bearish engulfing candle and then retested and looked like it was going lower, then that's something to where it's like, okay, now I'm going to enter. But right now, it's still a little bit premature. So I would just hold off if you haven't entered already. And if you do want to enter, just know that these highs over to the left, the market still hasn't broke above that. So I would just put my stop loss a few pips above the 61.8. If you were looking for an aggressive entry, I would just make sure to use proper risk management. But for me personally, I would more so like to wait for more confirmation. That's just if you want to trade a little bit more aggressively. All right. And real quick, if we do break back below the trend line, overall, I can see NU coming down to 0.635 to 0.63. And if we hold above, then it'll be pushing back more than likely towards 0.655 to 0.66 resistance, just to give out certain levels of a take profit I'm going to be looking for. All right, moving on to USD CAD. Let me start off on the daily time frame. So from what, 140, the market dropped all the way down to about 133 and like one strong move. So overall, this was moving bearish, and then the market found support, and then we seen a bullish engulfing candle that engulfed like the previous 6 days, and then the market pushed back down about 50% of that bullish engulfing candle. So looking at this on a 4-hour, with this pair right here, it's kind of tricky because right now, overall, I'm going to be bullish, but it's just right now because we're in this consolidation, and this could be like a fake support. So even though right now it's looking like it's holding, I wouldn't place buys just yet because the likeliness of it pushing down lower to the 61.8 is still high. So I would wait for to see if we could get a hold within this level first before I look for buys. And also, you could draw a counter trend line. So when the price pushed up and made this move with this bullish move, and then it pushed back down and it found support from there, it was making like a discrete higher lows and higher highs. But it didn't have enough momentum to reach back up to these highs, which is why we got another move back down to the downside. So you could draw a trend line from that low and connect it out like this. All right, so this is where you got the break at, and this is why the market led. So now, even if we do hold, the market would need to break back above this trend line. If it broke back above the trend line, I would like to see a retest hold, and then we could potentially start to move back up to the upside. So right now, it's really just about where the market is trying to find support overall. So I'm either looking for the market to push up. It's either going to reject here, or we're going to push up, climb higher, come lower, and then look to revisit the highs and come towards 1.37 resistance. So overall, I'm looking for the bullish move. It's just about being patient and waiting for the market to clearly find support, show its hand, show its some type of bullish engulfing or some type of bullish reversal candlestick, either around 135 to 134.5. And then overall, the market would need to break back above 1.36. And then if it does that, it could go as high as 1.37 and 1.375. GBP CAD. Okay, so GBP CAD has been moving pretty bearish. I need to delete this real quick because I want to start it off on the weekly time frame. But overall, right now, it's looking like it needs to push up to potentially come lower. It's looking like it's in that retracement, or it's about to enter that retracement phase, because we did just make a new lower low. All right, so looking at it on the weekly, just so you can kind of see from this perspective. So after the market tapped out and reached these highs, we've seen a shift decline to the downside. And then with this candle, we broke below the 50 EMA on the weekly. And then from that point on, the next month, the next 4 weeks, all pushed up. It cannot break back above the 50 EMA. And then last week, we had one last attempt that tried to break back above. It could not. And last week's weekly candle closed in a shooting star type candle. After 4 weeks, all rejected from breaking back above the 50 EMA and after we just had a strong push to the downside. So with this, looking at where we found support at, it did come within the neckline of the previous key support right here. It did come within that area right here. But overall, because of this momentum coming to the daily time frame, this is why I see a potential pullback before we look for sales back down to the downside. Because we just had this lower high that was formed, the price pushed up to the 50 EMA, bearish engulfing candle off the 50 EMA. The next candle failed to break above the highs. The very next candle gave one last hit to the highs, failed to break above, closed in a shooting star while also breaking below the counter trend line. Price pushed down, hit support, pulled back up, hit the 72 retracement, fib retracement, and then dropped. So now we're looking for the market to potentially push up, come to either the 38, the 61, or in between the 72 or 78, and then that's where we're looking for sales. So just like how I had the images beforehand, before I deleted, this area right here around 0.70 would be around the 0.70 and the 61.8 retracement would be the first level I'll look at, mainly because you had a key support right here. All right, and if it breaks above that, the next key area of resistance would align with where the market was tapping at resistance multiple times in the past, and also it aligns with the 50 EMA and the 78.6 fib retracement. So normally when you see multiple confluences that just aligns in an area like that, even if the market doesn't come up to that level, those are normally going to be good levels for you to monitor, because more than likely, if you monitor those levels and study those levels, you're going to learn that those levels are going to get hit, because just how the market moves and how like the numbers move, it likes to hit certain levels of price, and those levels of price go on and they have effect with the actual economy. So just like if you see something, if the market comes up to certain highs or certain lows, it'll align with President Trump getting elected or elections or whatever. So that's why you kind of want to monitor certain levels, because they align with the actual economics that's going on in the world. So just to redraw, I'm either looking for one of these scenarios. All right, and then I got one or two more pairs, and I'm gonna kick it off to Brandon. GBP JPY. I think Brandon's gonna go over EU. That's why I haven't went over it yet. So GBP JPY has been moving, honestly, it's been moving like one of the smoothest pairs these last few weeks. So after we made this head and shoulders pattern over here, we've seen the smooth breakout that I went over. Price made the double bottom, retested the neckline of the head and shoulders pattern. You could have drew the from this high to this low, like that. The market would have came up, hit the 72-point retracement. That was entries right there. And then the market declined all the way down to the -24, which would have been the TPs that aligned around 132.5 support. So now the market round out, and now we're looking like we're trying to push back up to the upside. So for me, I'm just looking at this as breakout retest continuation. So the market broke out again. So now I'm just looking for it to retest. Right now it's at the 38.2. We're either going to hold here and drop down to the downside, or we have another attempt to the upside. And we could come up to as high as 134 to 134.5. And then anywhere around those areas, I'm going to be looking for sales. And GJ could come back as low as 131.5 to 131 support level. If we hold within this structure, that's what I'll be looking for with GBP JPY for the most part. And just for the bullish sentiment, the market would need to break above 134.5. And if it breaks above that and holds, then you would look for GJ to push up back up to these highs around 136 if it were to invalidate structure. All right, and last pair, Euro Jappy. So Euro Jappy is similar. The only thing is that I've seen is this overall trend line that I drew out on the weekly, starting from this key point that started off way in 2018, connected it to this point right here around January 13th, 2020. And then you've seen that the market broke above that level and then it retested that level. And now it held at that level. So if we hold and we stay above this overall trend line, I'm going to be looking for the market to push up. But overall, if the market can't close and hold above the 50 EMA, we could see it look to push back down lower towards the 72 or the 78 retracement, fib retracement. So that's what I'll be monitoring. I'm really just trying to see if it wants to hold or break back below the trend line. And with that, it'll give me my overall bias if I'm trying to go long or short. If we hold, then overall the market can come back up to 122, if not higher. If we break back below, the market could come back to 118.5 to 118 support. All right. So that's pretty much the pairs that I'm looking at as of right now. I'm going to send out markups either tonight or later on in the week. All right, so I'm going to kick it off to Brandon so he can go over his pairs for the week. You ready, Brandon?
Yeah, I'm actually sending out a signal right now. Hold on. Yep, I'm ready to go. All right, so solid analysis about Ryan, but I'm also I just hopped in GU. We were a little early, but I'm about to get a breakdown on this real quick. Let me see. 1 second. 2, 3, 5. All right. So GU, go to a clean chart real quick. And it also looked like, hold on. See, some of these pairs, we were just a little early. Even NU is dropping from up here. So yeah, I believe that didn't hit the stop loss. So GU, let me go to clean chart. All right, so looking at this, I'm just go down to the daily. I'm gonna just keep it, just focus on relevant price action. But nice, yeah. They giving us a cow. Remember, you sent the picture of that bear. We said the bears is on the way. That bear was confirmation, but no. But I really would like to see how this 4-hour candle closes. You know, I entered now. It's giving nice rejection, but I'm gonna show you right now. We got a bearish engulfing on a 1 hour. So looking at GU here, I'm on a daily. You can see I focus on my key points of structure. So we got, just looking at this right here, where price rejected from up here. That's a key point of structure. Even before this price action right here happened. Even before this price action happened, you should already had this structure point identified, because this is your level of previous support before price broke through, right? Which is near the 1.28, psychological type number, which price spiked away from around 1.28. All right, so when you got up there, it gave you a nice rejection, nice doji type, shooting star type candle with a nice wick rejection from it. And then it gave you a strong bearish engulfing. So that was the confirmation that we're continuing to go down. My next point of structure that I will look at is right here. This is my level of resistance. I try not to make it too wide, but this is your next point of resistance. All right, so once price gave you this drop right here, I would have needed to see a nice break below this level or some type of bearish price action to expect us to keep rolling over. All right, so we got that. I just want to draw this up. I'm just marking this up fresh. I already have my markups, but so all right, so now like where price is currently at, we can see that price gave us, this is the three wave that I normally talk about. I talk about this structure of price where price give you that 1, 2, 3 wave. Normally when you see a wave like that, impulse, correction, impulse, the next correction I like to see, which is happening now, that next correction, I like to see price come back and retest at least previous support, which is right here, which is around 1.25. which is 1.25, which it just spiked from, is another psychological level. So it's showing us nice bearish rejection from that now. Again, we were just a little early on it, but that don't mean we were wrong on the trade. You know what I mean? So now it's giving us that rejection. So even if you take your fib from this previous swing high, because even before this thing started moving, I was going to start telling you what I would look for before I would start looking for sales, but I'm getting that now. So it's pulling back between around the 50% pullback, which is a nice retracement. You see now it's showing nice bearish pressure from this level. Look at the 2 hour. The 2 hour just printed a shooting star. This candlestick right here, you see, printed a shooting star candlestick. Hold on, I might need to add some more positions. Well, no, it printed this shooting star candlestick, and now which is a sign of bearish rejection, right? So it gave us a nice bearish reversal candle from this level. If you go down to like the 1 hour, you got a bearish engulfing, and now it's showing nice price action. So when you start seeing this type of rejection, you can start anticipating sales. Now, even more confirmation, we'll be waiting for this 4 hour candle close, which is another 4 hours, because this candle just closed when we started this. A new 4 hour candle just started to form when we started this session. So around 10 o'clock or 1 a.m. Eastern time, that's when this 4 hour candle will close. So let's say this closed bearish engulfing, then that's even more indication that it's likely that we're going to at least come back down to these lows, if not create a lower low and come back down here. All right. So that's what I'm looking for GU. I'm expecting price to come back at least back down to these lows around maybe 1.235, 1.236. And then if it breaks through there, you can expect price to create a lower low and come down to this structure down here, which is structure support around 1.23. 1.23 is a psychological number. So you can expect if it breaks through here, my next point will be around 1.23. All right. So whenever you see this three wave, 1, 2, 3, and if you're not in that trade, just let it correct itself at least to the previous support structure. Once it starts finding resistance and showing you, even if it pulled up a little bit above here, but then eventually, let's say come London, it started sharply closing back above here, right? You can start looking for your sales when it starts showing you rejections and showing you that it's finding resistance. All right. So let me see. We got some people in the chat. Yeah, that's also an Elliott wave. That's also an Elliott wave. So that's basically a three wave. Yeah, that's a three wave Elliott. So we're looking for that fourth wave down. So something like this. We got the impulse. That's the first wave. Second wave up. Third wave down. Fourth wave up. Actually, this is going to be our fifth wave extension. All right. So if we create that lower low, that's going to give us the fifth wave back to the downside. All right. And it's like once you really understand, like once you know how the market basically moves in waves, and once you understand price action, you understand market structure, you know how to read the charts from the higher time frame, then identifying these waves is going to make trading a lot more simple, especially when you factor in different tools like supply and demand, Fibonacci. You add different tools for more confluence and more confirmation, but it's all price action. All right. Yeah. So that's GU. Let's see if we get that extension, which is looking like we will. This looks like it's going to be a nice bearish 4 hour candle. All right. So if this closed with a lot of bearish pressure, then that's probably going to improve our chances of us getting a lower low for the fifth wave, probably down to 1.23. All right, so that's GU. EU. Oh, EU. They all doing the same thing. Let me see. I had a. Want to go to. Well, you know what? I'll just keep it simple. EU. Yeah, EU also is rejecting. So, you know, we caught the initial move on EU, and now it's pulling up, creating a lower high. So when price gave us this initial impulse, we were catching the sales right here. We were catching the sales on this second wave up. The second wave up basically just came and lined up with, you know, this level of structure right here. Came up and lined up with that, formed this head and shoulders, broke below. This was the break below support of this head and shoulders. So now it just pulled back a little deeper, and you see now we're getting that bearish pressure too. This 4-hour candle, if this closed strong bearish as well, you probably can expect to give us that lower low back down to 11,115, if not lower. Because you can also take a trend line right here from this high to this lower high. You know, price slightly went above it, but this right here is like a shooting star type candlestick on the 4-hour. All right, showing signs of price exhaustion, and now we're getting this strong bearish pressure. And I was expecting price to actually hold below here, below 1,300. You know, so now we're getting that rejection. 1 hour bearish engulfing. You know, so now it's closing back below our trend line. The 2 hour shooting star, strong bearish pressure, similar to GU. So I'm expecting EU to come back down to 111.4, 111.5. So even if you were entering right here, my stop loss would at least be above these highs and down here to the lower low. You know, so you still can catch about 100 pips right there. All right, so the 4 hour will give us even more confirmation, which is looking like it's setting up for that bearish pressure. All right, so that's EU. Gold. Gold is acting a little different because of, you know, it does its own thing sometimes. So looking at gold, gold is back at these levels, this high. With gold, I probably would more so like to see how, you know, it shape up going into New York or going into London. More so midweek. Right now it is pumping. I mean, it came up to this supply level up here where we had the previous sell-off. It came up there and it gave us nice wick bearish rejection showing price exhaustion. But after that, you see now price is pumping back up. All right, so it could be just pressing these levels again, you know, liquidity press before they roll it over. But really, as long as price stays below here, stays below 1765, all right, and doesn't break that high, then I will expect us to get another roll over. All right, but I would probably need to see how the next couple 4 hour candles close. Right now, this 4 hour candle is picking up some bullish momentum. So I would need to see how the next couple 4 hour candles close, probably going into New York session to see if we're getting more rejection again. All right, after this retest. All right, but I am favoring sales to the downside as long as that holds. All right. Let's see. Any questions? Rocking and rolling, GU and U, yeah, they both started, you know, finally rejecting US 30. All right. Let me see. Oh yeah, Euro Chef is one I was about to go over. It's actually a lot of Euro news in London session at a London Open. So I'm gonna check out Euro Chef. I'm looking like that's about to set up to go bullish. But US, ooh, shoot. You know what's crazy? It's too late for US 30. She out of there. And it's crazy because I was waiting for this. I was more so waiting for this on S&P 500. And I bet if I go look, I was planning on covering that. But it's probably dropping just like this. You see it pulled up to create this lower high. I remember on the last session, I showed you guys, it's probably going to pull up, maybe tap the trend line or just form this lower high, which it's doing. And now it's giving us that wave down. So if you're not in that, that move, you missed that. That's US 30 moves different. Just this one candle is 4,000 pips. Let me see. So S&P 500. See, this is why I normally like to wait to after Monday close, because you see we got some of those false moves, and then after the Monday daily candle close, from now going into London, that's where you start to see the real moves start to set up. And like S&P probably doing the same thing. There it go. So same thing. Pulling up to create this lower high. I was waiting for this move, and I missed it. So if it breaks this support, if it breaks this support level, like right up in here, chances are, I would like to see some type of pullback if I'm not already in. If I see some type of pullback retest, start to show signs of resistance, then you can look for the continuation back down. But right now, I wouldn't just hop in this, because you see, when you're trading these indices, I mean, just one candle is that's crazy pips. So all right, yeah. So I'm bearish on those. I've been bearish on those because even if you look, if I zoom out, I got this ascending trend line drawn from point one, from this low to this higher low structure all the way through. So this was the impulse breakout of that. Now price is basically retesting that. It's retested it and showing, a lot of bearish pressure. But even though right now this is still a range, this is still ranging. It's still moving sideways right here. So we need to see a confirmed breakout. Once we get that, then that's confirmation that it's likely that we're continuing down lower. But hopefully, ideally, you'll like to see some pullbacks, but look to just trade the pullbacks of structures. Because really, once you have like a identified direction, now you're just looking for those repeat horizontal levels. You know what I mean? To actually come back and retest, just like what GU is doing. Just like what GU is doing, where we got the confirmed direction. So now you want to set up these horizontal support and resistance levels and look for your retest. Look for price to either form support, form resistance, and just take that continuation move. So what was it? Euro odd. Okay. So a lot of the Euro pairs, it's like they're in iffy situations. Well, Euro odd, I've been waiting for this to pump, and it's coming right back down here, and it's retesting this level, these lows, the prior day low. And if this 4-hour candle closed bullish engulfing, then it's likely that we'll see it give us a move back up. Euro is forecasting, or like they're anticipating it to be strong. But what I wanted to look at was Euro Chef. It looked like it's probably going to give us one more wave back down. But I was looking at the monthly, yeah. So you see this on the monthly, just under, like, it's a bullish engulfing on a monthly time frame. So at any point, this can start to give you that bullish move. Looking at this candle right here, it's the bullish engulfing. So, and it's at levels of demand. So it's slightly pulled below here. It's slightly pulled below this liquidity or this previous pump. Right? It extended down, but then it gave you that bullish engulfing. So now if I come down to the daily, we got this double bottom. You can also say maybe possibly a triple bottom. and the chances are there was some bullish divergence right here. So price gave you that impulse. This is the impulse. It gave you the impulse. Now I believe this is just correcting itself before giving you the third wave up. So I would like to see, I mean, on the daily candle did close bullish engulfing, but this could give you another pull down before rolling over to the upside. So looking at the 4-hour candle, 4-hour structure, it's still bearish on the 4 hour, you know, so I wouldn't necessarily buy this right now. What's today? Today's the 22nd. All right, so if price comes back down here, which look like it's probably gonna give us one more move back down. If it comes back down here and hold, find support, then I would look for buys there. Because this is likely probably, you know, playing around and probably giving you a pullback before that news hit. You know what I mean? But if price was to come down here and actually break this support, if it was to come down and break this support, then it's gonna go lower. So something like this, you know, you'll like to see if you get your retest or your pullback, and then just continue it back down. Cat Jappy. So CAD JPY is at a level, it's at a strong level of demand, and it's finding support. This previous level right here, we had a huge move to the upside. So price came down here. It's not just there. Like just look at structure. So this is a key point of structure because this was support right here. There was resistance right here before it broke above it, and then it became support, and then it started bouncing again. So looking at the daily, we got a bullish engulfing. Bullish engulfing on the daily, which could be a sign that buyers are coming in. All right, so if we go down to like the 4 hour, price is now pulling back. This is the low of the day right here where my cursor's at. This is the low of last week. So if price comes down here, right now it looks like this 4 hour candle might be bearish engulfing. So if price comes down here and actually breaks through, then I wouldn't look for buys. You know, I would need to see price come down here and find support, hold, maybe give us a bullish engulfing or nice, you know, bullish shooting star, some type of bullish rejection for me to look for that continuation buy to the upside. Because this is at a level right now where price could potentially hold and continue up to the upside. So I could take a trend line right here as well. See if price want to come down and find support. You know, it could spike through here all at once, but it would need, for it to continue to the downside with this, you would need to see price completely break through this level. Like completely break through, candles close and everything, and then you can see if you get maybe a pullback opportunity. Or if that breakout candle is not, you know, too strong and the risk to reward is still worth it, you could look to take price down lower. Which the next point of targets probably will be around this resistance points down here, around 78. All right, any pairs, any other pairs you guys want me to go over? It's only a few pairs that I was like looking at overall this week. It was GU, like that I was looking to trade. It was GU, EU, S&P. I was also looking at AU still. You see AU, here go AU doing the same thing. Yeah, this is another one. AU, I'm still overall bearish on AU. This is double top. This is higher low. Our price is pulling up to form another higher low. If this closes bearish engulfing, then you can really start to look for your sales, which it looks like it's going to do. It's similar to GU, because this is probably going to come back down to 0.67. Now, of course, price needs to break. It would need to break through. It would need to break through this support. And also, it's not a coincidence that the Australian dollar and the indices like S&P, US 30 are all going bearish at the same time. They actually correlate. So that's something you can use for more confluence when you're trading those. AJ, I think Ryan went over it, but I'll look at AJ too, because AJ is pretty much the same thing. Let's see what AJ looking like. Yeah, see, same thing. Like I had this level drawn here because I think on the last session I was looking at this and I was saying price could pull up here, right here, and then reverse. Now you see it slightly pulled above it, and now it's reversing. So that's a strong bearish candle right there. You know what I mean? Like bearish, like all of these rejections that's happening right now, it's looking like they're setting up for bearish engulfings on the 4-hour, which can give us more that extra bearish pressure to continue this push. Now, of course, AJ will need to break through this support to keep going. And if it does that, you know, this will be an ideal level of retest that you would love to see. But it doesn't always do that, you know. So if you could go down to like the 1 hour or the 30-minute as well, and just, you know, trade in line with structure and catch those pullbacks. But right now, AJ is definitely headed back down to the support, 72.6, which is about 70 pips from where it's currently at. But after this though, like after this 4-hour candle close, it could possibly pull back. So if it pull back, let's say like 50% of the candle or something, like maybe back to like 73.7 or something like that, you could look to enter on a pullback. You know, for me, I would like to see some type of pullback if I'm gonna enter this here, like maybe pull up back up to like around here, you know, and then I would have my stop loss above, and then my take profit target at least back to this support, which I still can catch 100 pips, and that'll still be a 1 and 2. So ideally, I would like to see a pullback after this 4-hour candle close. I would enter this on the sell. Now, if I enter this right after the 4-hour candle close, the risk to reward will be worth it. I mean, it will have to be worth it. So if I entered there, boom, I put my stop loss above. Now, I would need to anticipate this to break this support in order to make this worth it to me. Like come back down to like 72, which could very much so happen. Because we're looking at overall, we're in this level of supply. So I am expecting this support to be broken. It's just a matter of when. Yeah, around 172 will be my next target. I mean, not 172, 72. All right. So, any other questions? We're gonna keep you guys up to date with you know, any other trade opportunities. GU right now, we're in that. We're in EU. NU is called, so you guys should be in both of those. All right, so if you guys have no other questions, probably gonna get ready to hop on. Yeah, UCAD was another one I was looking at too. I believe Ryan just caught that signal. So this closed 4-hour bullish engulfing, and our chances of us continuing to the upside increases. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up, guys, unless you have any other questions, any concerns, if you want me to look at a markup or anything. Six. All right, yeah, oil. So, yeah, we're getting this. With this oil correction, if oil starts to really give us this bearish way down. This look like it's setting up for, and that's definitely going to help our USD CAD buy. All right, so I'm gonna go on and wrap it up, y'all. I hope that helped, and things are setting up. Euro CAD, I was hoping I was getting more of a pullback, but I believe that's setting up for the buy as well. So we'll see you all on the next session. It'll probably be a London session or a New York session sometime. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. No problem. Thanks for hopping on.